Here's a preview of this week's episode. And now, because we're not in our parents' house, the arguments about our life decisions or what we're doing and like how we feel. And that's a little bit different. I think then to Simone's point, my mom and I have really worked on, my mom's like, nah, I'm very expressive, right? So I'll say whatever's on my mind. My mom is not that. And, I think me going through therapy, like
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Kind Adulting Podcast, where we talk about all things affecting kind adults. I'm Simone.
I'm Elise.
And I'm Jordan. Was that fast enough for you guys?
It was better.
Better.
How's everyone doing tonight on this fine Friday?
Y'all, welcome to another episode. I feel like we've been doing 500 episodes.
We have been doing 500 episodes in all this 1 week.
It reminds me of when Nene was like, we'll go to the studio and drop some beats. And I'm like, we at the studio dropping tracks, dropping episodes.
One day when we have a studio and I'm not resting my speaker on my bed drawer and
we
sitting
work
on a step stool.
We working. I ain't got a job, but I am a job. What's that song? Say it.
It's funny when you sing songs like that because you sounded so soft, like just not.
Well, Simone, we can't all be like you.
Did you, the way she said that, Jordan,
it was like very passive.
But that's not.
That's not how this song goes.
Well, then y'all sing it. If y'all so some City Girl fans, y'all sing it.
I don't really know the words, but I know she gonna come in.
Yeah, we know you don't know the words.
It's gotta come in strong. So try again.
I don't got a job, but I am a job.
I don't work jobs. B word. I am a job.
Oh, there you go, Jordan. Of course, Jordan would know that with her nails.
Because, baby, it's a lifestyle.
She does have really cute nails. I like.
Thank you. Everybody will see. Hopefully, I post a reel before this episode comes out. But you know how the game goes.
We hope. Mm-hmm.
We'll wait.
Because it's supposed to be like St. Patrick's Day, but that was like 2 days ago. So here we are.
But are you? What? Okay. Never mind. I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna say it.
Okay. Y'all always be trying to point me
out.
Are
your ancestors from Ireland?
Yes, they are actually. You want to see my ancestry DNA chart? I pulled it back up actually yesterday. So
then you need to go hard.
1%. 1%.
You got that. You true.
Girl, that ain't even a freaking figment of your genes. Like,
look, people claim black with less. So
that's true. How could Danny Lay?
You sound like black people trying to claim their Native American heritage.
Yo, each time they be like the Cherokee and me, I'm like
the Cherokee. Ain't nobody Creek. Ain't nobody Creek. Everybody Cherokee.
They like my grandma. She got nice hair. I'm like, nice hair don't.
That don't mean that.
Doesn't mean that.
It's okay.
I hope one day that we as a people can be removed from those shackles.
No, literally, because
I cannot tell you how many times I was asked what I was growing up. And when I said, finally, because y'all know it takes me a while to even say that I have family from Jamaica. When I say that my dad's family's from Jamaica, they say that explains my hair, as if Jamaicans are not of serious African, yes, very diverse, but of serious African descent. So the average Jamaican is black, not any type of like mixed, breed, like they're trying to say. And I'm like, you're right. It explains a lot, I guess. I don't know.
I used to love my grandma Cherokee. And I'm like, okay, no one asked y'all. Like, they'd be like, I'm mixed with this and that. And I'm like, so you black? It's okay to be black.
Literally, black.
Just be black.
One time I was at a party at Howard, and it was obviously dark because it's a party at nighttime. And this boy came up to me. He was like, what you mixed with? I said, what? He was like, what you mixed with? I said, black and black? What do you mean? He was like, your hair look nice. It's weave. It's weave. Like, so thoroughly confused. I was like, are you serious right now? Like,
one day
he was like, are you sure you're not mixed with nothing? I said, you're at a Howard party, right? Like, it's black people, like black people. Like,
people be just lost in this world.
Like, what?
I want them to get it together.
Wait.
But you got. Oh, what were you gonna say, Elise?
I was gonna say we were talking about something before, and Simone was like,
we were gonna talk about Saweetie.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about my vaccine shot because
we were talking about Saweetie.
I think it's Sweetie.
It's okay. Regardless of how she says it, I say sweetie because that's how it's spelled.
That's how her mama spell it, so that's how I'm gonna say it.
Sweetie. And it seems more,
relevant.
It has a little to it.
We can talk about vaccines after me and Simone have ours.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to talk about Sweetie because I feel as though she is, for one, being gaslighted by her mans.
Yeah, I'm a Sweetie stan. I'm a stan. I like how she stands for. I like her story, Diamante. I want to come on the podcast.
I love that name.
I love her name too.
I love her YouTube videos, but
Me too.
I've been working a lot. It's been a rough week. I cried a couple times, but I went on the Twitter today and I saw she was trending. I said, "What was my girl trending for?" And I said, "Broke up." I said, "Not today on Beyonce's internet where Blue Ivy has won a Grammy." Not because I'm the type of person, I know y'all gonna drag me, who's like, I love the love between couples. It's so cute. I love it. And then I saw that, like, the Twitter exchange, like, I'm single, like, what do you say? Like, he exchanged intimacy with other women.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo.
I like the way she said that, though. He was so upset about that, but she really, if you have sense, you know what she's saying. But, like, she did not openly just say you cheated.
He cheated, yeah.
Yeah, you shared intimacy.
I love the way she said that because it's the truth. Because it could be a range of things. That
Exactly.
It was inappropriate, regardless.
Yeah. Right. It can still be texting, right? If you're being intimate with somebody else in a relationship. I just kept on thinking, every day I wake up, I'm like, thank you that I'm not celebrity, because I do not have it in me to have thousands of people tweeting me. Because when he tweeted her and was like, you're not the woman who I thought you were, and she said, take care. I could not be doing that between someone I've been dating for almost
a long time. Yeah.
I didn't see her say, so she said take care back then.
Yeah. Because I'm like, you don't respect me. Like, I'm happy not a celebrity because I don't think I have the control.
Handled it very well. Yeah, but she did very well with it. And that's why I was like, why is he so salty? She didn't say anything that was like, that would hurt his image, really. That could have been just so many things. All she said was like, you exchanged intimacy and I'm good. But it probably hurt his pride because now everybody knows that his girl broke up with him, for one. And then two, Sweetie don't seem like the type that can be bought back like, some of the other people in that family. So that's another thing. And then three, I couldn't be a celebrity because I cannot imagine the amount of DMs that girl got today. Because
they were funny, though.
On my social media were like, it's time to go. Sweetie's single, it's time to go. Like, I could not imagine. Her social media was probably blown the fuck up.
Yeah, and I was going to say is like, I forgot what I was going to say, but do you want to say something? I completely forgot my train of thought. What I was going to say about the situation.
No, I was about to say, like, that's definitely on, like, their brand, though. Migos, like, they all cheaters. Like,
it didn't really
hurt.
Did y'all see Takeoff somewhere minding his business? Somebody said, no, he out there fighting a sexual assault charge. Clearly, none of y'all are relaxing tonight.
No.
But yeah, that's a lot. Like, I promise you, like, I mean, I can't be a celebrity because the amount of control people in my business, no, I'm good. But I think I was going to say, I think there was a situation, I think, definitely in adulthood, I've been learning more and more and more and really accepting is like, you really don't know, right? And I think everyone aspires and says, like, oh, like, that looks perfect. And we aspire, like, we don't always say we aspire. So things will be kind of thinking in my head, like, oh, they look like this is what I want. Like, I want someone who treats me like how Quavo treated Sweetie. And it's like, you really never know. Even with celebrities, even with friends, right? You really never know what's behind those closed doors. But a lot of time what we see in the social media, which is real life,
all the cute stuff.
We accept it, right? Because again, who posts a lot of their pain? And so I think that just reinforced again, like, goals, whatever, it definitely can be outward facing, but you never know what's going on in the background. I think it's very important to being like adulting because people are very different stages of their lives. We talk about people who are flashing they designer purchases on the gram day in, day out. And you're like, yo, they got it together, but you don't know like what they're struggling with. And it's like, in the day, would you rather have peace or would you rather have a bag? And that's me. I think I learn more and more each day that it's not all, what's it called? Sugar. It's not all cute out there.
Yeah, I think this is another reminder. I mean, personally, I think I watch YouTubers sometimes, like I watch certain stuff like that, but I've never been one to like obsess or admire these people because I don't know them, right? Like I just like Y'all know I just like entertainment. But I think this is a reminder for people because this guy tweeted something like, mom and dad have been married for 20 years, grandmother and grandpa have been married for 40 years, but Sweetie and Quavo means that there's no real love out there. And it's like, that's so real. Like y'all put so much into these celebrities that you know nothing about, what's going on in their like situations. And you have real life examples of those things. Like, and you just want that for what? The image? Like, not me.
It's the
like
Bentleys.
I want to see the real stuff.
I want a Bentley. My grandpa.
I want a Bentley, but if I have to get cheated on 4 times to get the Bentley, I don't want it because especially these rappers, bro, like they are really bad. They are bad. Like they be writing songs about these girls. They just be doing everything. Like what's his name?
Who?
Jada's man. They just
Will Smith.
Baby?
Oh,
Will Smith. I'm sorry. Well, wait, which one? Because I like.
No, which one? Because
I don't know.
Lil Baby. Baby. I'm just saying.
I mean, you already know what they say about Jada. They be like,
that's what I'm saying. They put so much.
You got to put away some cheating to have a happy relationship.
Yo, I cannot.
I can't even judge it.
I just know it is not for me. It is not for me.
But also, if I get to cheat back, then we already just don't disrespect. Like we just disrespect each other. But at least you buy me gifts. I don't know. Maybe I can. I would for a little bit.
I've heard that about Jada, but I would absolutely cheat back. However, I would like a real relationship. So that doesn't sound enjoyable to me either. Like we're both having to get like, I don't know, making sure neither one of us have anything, the whole relationship, that don't sound fun to me. Like, and if I gotta wake up every night, like Jada don't live in peace. Every day she wake up, somebody is coming for her she be minding her business.
I'm fine with
somebody gotta come back and be like, your man was doing this. Like,
that was funny though. But I'm not even mad at her though about that because real life, I told Jordan the other day, I said, listen, if I had to date someone that's like, moving some stuff around in the world for 2 weeks. You
don't want that at least because somebody come pop up at your door looking for him and you get took out. She's
gonna be like, I don't even know his last name. I don't know.
Jordan,
he just bought me nice things.
You can do it without me. I don't want to be involved. You can do it without me.
They don't care.
Simone, can I finish my story?
They gonna take the assets.
But I'm saying,
they don't give no crap.
I'm just gonna like pretend like, I thought so cookie. I thought
and
so
this
cookies.
Whole episode is up, and they're gonna be like,
but
right, Jordan
presenting episode 27 of Kinda Adulting Podcast.
Can I say my piece though? I told Jordan I would get my chain, my YSL back for those 2 weeks. I will roll. I will be down for 2 weeks. Don't play, cause I'm gonna get my wealth up. Because Jada, she got some purses. She could take some purses, to the store and sell them back. So I mean, I ain't mad at Jada.
I'm not mad at them. I realized for me, I can't do. That's not the life.
I would do a trial period.
It's not the life for me.
I think it would make me
I would be mad at Jada though if she wasn't cheating back, which I have heard that. I've heard some stuff, so I respect that. Ain't no way in heck.
You'll be in the streets.
There is no way in heck I'm sitting in my room and you out doing whatever the hell you want to do, but I got to be loyal to you. Oh no, we gotta have an agreement. We gotta sign some type of contract or something. That don't work for me.
I mean, I'm here for. I mean, I'm told you before. I told you, but I know why Jordan laughing because Jordan said she would too. She said I could do it for 2 weeks.
What?
I would do it for 2 weeks.
I just wasn't trying to put it on the thing on the
podcast.
You dating somebody who's real in that life, and then the people come looking for him, and you the only one who's there. Guess who they gonna take? And then I'm gonna get a call at 3 in the morning. Talk about give me $20,000 or I'm taking her fingers off. It's me who got,
and you better
because
get that
y'all
money.
Wanted a YSL bag because y'all wanted a YSL bag. Okay.
Because it's when you got the money, so I'm gonna say, hey, yeah, here's her address. Actually, I'll be like, roll up here, and she can help you out.
Funny.
And then if not, I'm gonna say if she don't answer, call her mom. Here's her mom's number.
I'm gonna see who y'all with. Who was y'all looking for? And they say Jamarcus, whoever his name was.
Not Jamarcus.
That was buying you the YSL bags. I said, okay, y'all can go ahead. Because I told her.
Why can't it be Tommy?
But we already going over and we ain't even started the episode. Okay. On to our next segment. On this week, or each week rather, we give you guys a not so peer reviewed adulting fact or tweet from Whose internet is it today? It's Sweetie's internet. Again, don't come for us.
I know that's right.
I know that's right. If the fact
is
is
never wrong.
All right. So according to a survey of 2,000 people across the UK, Airtasker revealed people under 35 are willing to spend an average of 83.79 pounds or 116 US dollars to have someone else perform handy tasks for them. Baby, I be on TaskRabbit being like, yeah, so I need you to put this up, put this up. I tried to get my own drill and the man ended up talking to me into buying this like $20 set. And I'm just like, I don't even. Anyways, those shows that I was supposed to be putting up are still on my desk right now, taking up space. I'm not about to build her. I want it to be so badly. But yeah, so I just be on TaskRabbit getting people to hang up my stuff for me.
We just had cleaners come yesterday. Ooh. And he was staying too long. We were trying to get him to go because let me tell you, by hour. Yes, this is not the first time we have had this man, right? And the first time he came, I said it should only take 2 hours. Okay, I have a bathroom and a half. I clean it in 2 hours. And I was like, if you have time, maybe you could do our kitchen. That man stayed for like 3.5 hours. So I'm like, something ain't right. He just be, whatever. So we tried to
imaginary.
We booked him again, and I looked at his like lowest review, and his lowest review literally said like he drags on so that he can like charge you more. Mm-hmm. So yesterday we sitting like, why is he still? What's going on? Like he was vacuuming stuff. I'm like, I only asked the bathrooms, man, and so. I was just really like, this is really crazy. Like, you should not have been here for 3.5 hours, right? When I said 2, regardless, like, he didn't charge us for the extra hour or whatever because we were quite clear. But then I was talking to my dad, and I'm like, though, there's really no cost to convenience. Like, even though that was really expensive, like, we didn't have to do it. And so if I can afford that, I'm going to do it because it takes so much stress away.
First of all, how much did you pay for your cleaner?
Too much. I guess technically we paid like
100.
100. That's a lot.
100 a piece?
How big is your apartment? See, that's some adults and stuff.
But that's like with tip and everything. But that's what I'm saying. Like, well, in New York, like my friend had found someone who charged a flat out rate for their apartment, but it was $160, but then you still have to tip. And so that would have been like, but there's 3 of them, so it's a little
we paid 100. Like we use
but how much did they clean?
They cleaned the whole apartment.
See, I think it's better to do a flat rate than hourly because that's what happens is like the person tries to get the full time in.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's not cheap by any means.
I use Thumbtack or something else for cleaners, and it's like, or not Thumbtack, something else, but it's like it's by how many bedrooms you have and bathrooms. So you just do 2 bed, 2 bath, and it's 100.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Is it like an Angie's List?
No, it's like, I'm gonna find I'll probably find. You know what? I will find the link and drop in the episode. But it's actually a cleaning app. I remember using it. And it's just you type in how many bedrooms and bathrooms you have, and that's what it does. I also did it in college too. You just come, it's like really efficient. It's all paid through the app because I don't have got cash, so we're gonna pay you virtually. But I feel the cost of convenience. That's why my aunt is always getting on me about ordering groceries, right? Because I actually hate grocery shopping. We're gonna do a whole episode on grocery shopping. I know some people do.
Too.
I only like it.
Piece.
When I stayed abroad in South Africa, funny enough, like I look my time. I think because it was always calm when I went. Everyone was at church on Sunday mornings, but I truly don't like grocery shopping, right? I don't enjoy it. I think also living up here in like the DMV area, I miss Kroger, I miss Publix. I feel like they're way better in the South than grocery stores here. So I don't like grocery shopping. So sometimes I order my groceries. And if y'all knew where I live across from a Costco, right? I kid you not.
You be getting Costco too?
Simone, you know how close I live to Costco. I deliver stuff from Costco.
I got pizza.
It's like a 5-minute walk. I deliver stuff from Costco upstairs because usually I'm like, I'm not gonna drive my car 2 blocks over. I'm just gonna walk. But then I go to Costco and I buy something that's heavy.
Everything is bulk. Yeah, you can't
Right.
walk.
So then I start pushing across the street. People start honking at me. I'm pushing across my parents' house. But and one time I was sweating so bad, I said never again. So I do use Instacart. I'm an Instacart person. I definitely also live above a Starbucks, and I definitely if I go outside, there's a Starbucks. But some days I'm not trying to.
You gotta get a walk in though sometimes. The Starbucks, you just need to walk to the Starbucks.
You know where Starbucks is? You remember how close it is?
Not far.
But sometimes it's just like I'm not trying to go out in that public air. So I just be ordering it.
Not the public air.
It'd be like $15, and I ordered a Starbucks drink and a cake after I tip.
Oh my!
And I'm
so
like,
you got money. You got money.
Yeah. Because I think though I can feel that though, because the difference between like it's different for us out here. Because I was just thinking about that yesterday or this morning.
It's
and
cold
I was like,
sometimes.
I have a package downstairs. But for me to go get my package, I have to put on clothes, a mask. Exactly. Whereas at home, I could just walk out my door, or I could walk into the car, look a hot mess, and go get drive-through. Here, I have to like put clothes on. It's kind of different. Yeah.
I mean, as a person who walks literally everywhere, yeah, no. I mean, I do, but I definitely had Cinnabon ordered from the mall. But the mall is a little far from me to be walking back and forth. But I definitely paid. It was free delivery, and then it was buy one get one free. So I feel like it was.
When
I have cramps, one time I was like in so much pain, I just ordered ibuprofen on Postmate. So expensive.
And Postmates be taxing.
But also, speaking of like,
they do.
I'm looking in Simone's closet right now. I asked my friend to go because I need someone to come organize my closet real life. Like my closet stresses me out. I asked my mom to come travel up here last March before pandemic. I was like, oh, come visit me, mom. And one part was I want to see my mom. The other part, I want her to come organize my closet because she has to organize. And she flew all the way up here into my apartment. I said, you want to organize my closet? She's like, no, I'm a little tired. I went to bed. I was like, trying to be like, this is why you're here. It's to organize my closet. But I think I want to hire someone, which sounds really bougie, but to come and like have a closet organizer. Just like, come organize my closet. I'll pay you because yes, but I feel like I can use my space better. Like, we don't have
Me too.
We don't have huge closets, but I know there's a way for me to organize my stuff better in a way that's like easy for me to grade everything. And I'm sure it's probably an expert, and I will pay somebody because it is convenience. And I was reading something, and this girl who's like, I think one of the first black millionaire, she's like young, she was saying, outsource your laundry. Like, people always say, like, I'm too busy to have a business and too busy to do that. It's like some things, your opportunity cost of you working and like working on your dream may outweigh the cost of like your day-to-day task, right? Like laundry takes a while.
Were you talking about the black girls normalizing luxury? Because that's literally all they talk about.
It was a long time ago. Like I remember because she bought this huge mansion in North Carolina, like this whole like castle looking thing. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think it's like saying like, yeah, I kind of resonating with them. Like laundry is a lot of work, right? Laundry is a lot of time to fold those clothes. And it's like, if I was really focusing, maybe like if I had a business and then like, okay, like, even with the podcast, right? If I need to do something for the podcast, like, and that's like, if that was making us a lot of money, which we manifest that, then if I'm tired, I'm like, I need to sleep. Wouldn't it make more sense for me to just outsource my laundry? And I really didn't think about that. I think it's always kind of like, let me do everything myself. Like I'm trying to save money, but you really could if you wanted to focus on certain things that outsource it.
And I know we need to move on soon, but I actually find it to be interesting because I feel like laundry is pretty simple for me. Like if I had kids, I could definitely see myself outsourcing. For me, it's like cleaning, maybe organizing and stuff, but it's interesting, like the tasks that everyone finds to be like too much work. So yeah. I don't know. But we will now be moving on to our next segment where we will have our discussion and we'll try and offer our thoughts on a topic that relates to us being in our early 20s. Stay tuned. So on today's episode, we wanted to talk a little bit about a recent recording that went around with my man, Kirk Franklin.
You still claiming him?
Absolutely. Okay. And we'll get into that a little later. But
make you want to stomp.
Our man's Kirk Franklin went viral, to say the least. And I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about. This is all over Twitter and Instagram, but he cursed out his 33-year-old son. I think
33,
he's
yeah.
33. Mhm. And, people are just shocked because, he's usually a pretty good, calm figure, except for when he's performing stump or things of that sort.
Like, you want to stop?
But if you ever watch Baldwin Hills, you would know he is like, he's always had it in him. Okay.
Wait, he was on
Yeah,
Baldwin Hills?
Yeah, he was a guy's mentor,
Oh,
like an inner city guy. Because I think Kirk is from like the Compton, California area, so
okay.
he was like mentoring other guys out there. But I think first of all, this was a lot. It seemed like it was a lot of discussion about relationships that people have with their parents.
Yeah, as adults.
I think also it kind of showed that not all saints are perfect and they are human sometimes. I will say that because a lot of people are like, this is how saints act, but like Christians are human. But really what this brought up for us in being in our 20s is just how like our relationship has changed with our parents, the dynamics in terms of like arguments and discussions and just what our role is now versus what it was then. And so I wanted to start off by asking you guys, like, have you ever been cursed out by your parents? Because this was something on Twitter where people were like, y'all haven't been cursed out by your parents and it shows, like, that's why y'all are so sensitive, blah, 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 like, whatever. And then some people were like, you should never be cursed out by your parents. Now, not to answer first, but I do think like a 33-year-old being cursed out is a little different from a child.
Yeah.
But have you guys ever been cursed out? And like, especially were you cursed out as children?
I would say I do. I agree. I don't think any child, whatever age, be cursed out by their parent unless it's like, I mean, really, I just don't think that is okay, right? And I think it's always gonna be the parent-child dynamic, right? And I think it can be really hurtful. I have once, and I'm laughing because I was getting on my mom's nerves, and I think we know me and my mom's personalities, right? Like I'm definitely more like dominant, and my mom's more passive, and so like sometimes I knew as I always tell you, my words can hurt, and I know my words can hurt, right? So I can slice people down with stuff, and so like I was mad at her about something, and like she just got mad at me, but like I wouldn't say it was a curse out like Kirk Franklin. It was like a couple curse words, right? Because she was just frustrated. And like that was still like, like, and then after she felt like, I'm so sorry. And she was so mad at me. I still got in trouble, but it was like that thing. So I would say no. Have I been gone off on before without cuss words? Yes. And I guess I'll say this right now. I do think Kirk was in the wrong. I think that was toxic. I saw a lot of people like Ricky Smiley, who was also a toxic figure, in Atlanta, and Steve Harvey also was a toxic man already, saying like y'all need to back off Kurt. Like these kids, like y'all should be grateful. Y'all even have parents, and people's parents pass away. I'm like, that's not a good sense of logic because.
Yeah, I mean, it has nothing to do with the situation.
It has nothing to do with the situation, right? Like it's like when people say like.
But you're trying to make sense out of like Steve Harvey,
right? Like when you used to correct your parents and be like, well, I'm sure we all have childhood trauma when we say like, you did this to me as a child and it hurt me. It's like, but I gave you everything. I'm like, we're not saying you guys weren't good parents. We're saying like this situation hurt my feelings. It's not all about like you were a horrible parent.
Yeah.
And yeah, but yeah, that's just me. That's my piece.
I was never like cursed out, but like it was like yelling with curse words from my dad. My mom doesn't curse. But yeah, but it's weird because I have a weird relationship with like him cursing now. Cause like now he's like, he treats me like an adult. So he'd be like, why did they do that? Like talking to somebody else. And I'm just like, what do I do now? Like what I do now? And it's just like, oh, you're not talking at me. You're like talking to me. So it's just like, oh. So yeah, it's so weird now when they curse around me because I'm just like, I'll be a little scared. Like, wait, what do I do now? What do I do now? I don't even be doing nothing.
Well, I feel like being cursed out to me is a little different from like my parent using curse words. I just want to say that because when I think of cursed out, I think of kids like being called a bitch because there are kids who get that.
Yeah, they
parents.
do, and that's so sad.
But I wouldn't say I've ever been cursed out. Like my mom has been like, well, how'd you get the damn whatever? Like I don't really think of that as being cursed out. But no, I would say honestly, I haven't been. My parents did not really curse at me like that growing up, and they still don't now. Like if that happens, it's like I'd push my mom to the limit, and I know that like it's like her snapping, but it's never like you're a bitch or anything like that. And I also think there's like a level of cursing, like damn or hell. It's just a little different from fuck or something like that. You know, like I don't really even say those like on the podcast. So I don't know. I'm not trying to justify anything there, but no, I personally have not. I just felt like the Kirk situation was a little difficult because, for one, it's just like what we were talking about with Saweetie. We don't know like all the inner workings of that relationship. And not to say it's ever okay to curse at your child, but he was cursing back at his dad, which kind of made me feel like they have some type of screwed up dynamic in general, because I've never in my life thought to curse at my parent. But then it's hard because at the same time, when you're an adult and your parents cursing at you, why can't you? So I don't know. Like, I think things do change a little bit when you get older, like in the sense of you setting boundaries, or also maybe you get bolder with your parents than you were as a kid.
Yeah.
But I just didn't feel like I had enough to really just judge Kirk or even judge his son, because I don't live in that house. And who's to say as a parent, you know, who maybe has been pushed to the farthest limits, and at 30 something years old, your kid's being disrespectful, you won't curse. And then who's to say as a kid who has, you know, dealt with a whole bunch of toxicity, that you wouldn't curse at your parent. So it's just like, I felt I don't know enough to really like cancel him or anything like that. But I don't think it's ever okay for a parent to curse at a kid. And if my parents cursed at me now, I would be very like disturbed, to be honest. So,
and then he called his son a sin from the past. That's why I was like,
oh, I did not hear that. All I heard was you. That
That's like he said it before, that his son was a sin from the past.
That is not okay.
So that's why I was like, at first I was kind of like, oh, I don't mean, it's whatever, you know, he's 33 years old, he's a grown man. But then like, if I knew that, and just like,
that's terrible.
I don't know, because if he's saying all that about your seat, like your son,
I did not hear that.
Yeah, it was on Twitter.
I didn't like in his apology, right? You know, like all been therapy now. So I really do think, you know, like childhood trauma, I didn't like how in his apology, she was like, sort of, my son is 33. And I'm like, Anne, like
I didn't even listen to the apology.
People can be traumatized and bring that on from 33. Like that, I don't like that. Like, yes, you're responsible for your own trauma after you become an adult, but like to say your trauma wasn't caused by stuff in your childhood is like, it's crazy, right? So I didn't like him basically after gaslighting his son and being like, well, he's 33, so he should get over it. Absolutely not. And I'm sure we all grew up in Black households, so I know our parents have, like, I would say, I'm not gonna speak for y'all, but like, I know our parents have definitely yelled at me before, right? Like growing up to get something, do something, right? And I think it's very typical in Black households. But yeah, I think back to like, you know, the toxicity, like I think we can go into our next question of like how disagreements with your parents have changed since you've gotten older, right? As I think gotten older, like moved out their house. We all went to college, that we're not in our parents' house, you know, for majority of the year anymore. And how that changed. I guess I'll start with me. Like I definitely, the power of me living in a different state from my parents was that our only communication was through the phone, right? So they would make me mad. I just wouldn't call, right? Or like if something happened that I was like, okay, I know I want to talk about this, I had to go to study, right? And that was something different because in their house, I couldn't go nowhere. I had to take whatever they said, right? I couldn't go nowhere. Where am I going to go? Upstairs in their same house? And I think that dynamic, though, really gave me more respect with my parents, because I think they realized that, okay, we can't talk to our daughter any type of way because we just won't be able to talk to our daughter. And I think they had to understand, like, okay, like, this is my life, right? I respect you, but you just can't be coming at me crazy on the phone because you just won't hear from me for the week. And I think that's a dynamic that kind of started in college. And I think is different now. And I think honestly it's because I just don't live in their house. If I lived in their house, I would be by their rules, and I would be by having to like take whatever opinion they said and like have to, I guess, like, you know, absorb it and talk to them about it.
Yeah. I feel like with my parents, like, they're pushers. I'm a drug pusher, Katie. I'm sorry, I just had to quote Mean Girls, Mean Girls.
Oh, I was like, what?
But no, like, they're very much so like, you need to do this. It wasn't a suggestion, it wasn't asking, and it'll be about my personal life. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that. What do you mean you don't want to do that? Like, I don't want to do it. And it'd be like over something that really does not affect them. So it's just like, yeah, no. That's why I like being at home for a week and a half, maybe not 2 months, because at that point it's very much so you need to do this, da 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 da, and it's not even like chores or nothing. It'll be like, I don't want to get into specifics, but it's just like my personal life, my personal stuff, you know. And it's just like that's not really your opinion. Like, you don't have an opinion in this. This is my decision to do, my life. So I also am on the wave of not answering the phone. Like, they'll text me, you need to do this, and this, and I just, hey, so you guys da 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 da, like, completely ignore the conversation. I'm not coming home. Hey, what are you doing? Yeah, you don't respond to my message. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But how are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, I'm also not a very good communicator anyway, so they're not very surprised by that. But now it's just like, I really don't have to respond to things that make me upset, or not even make me upset. I just don't feel like it's your opinion. Like, your opinion is not necessary. I didn't ask for it anymore, so I didn't need it given to me.
Yeah. I feel like my parents, for the most part, our relationship has not changed, like our dynamic, because I'm very grateful for how they, like, I always felt comfortable to express myself. My dad definitely grew up in a household where they did not give a crap what kids had to say. And my mom, I mean, it wasn't as aggressive, but like, you know, kids weren't really talking as much, right? Like, and my mom always taught me, like, you can say whatever you want to say as long as it's respectful. So sometimes I definitely push the boundaries there, but I feel like my mom always gave me the room to do that. And she would shut me down when I got too far. But it was always like a very open, like, I always felt like I could share how I felt. And I think my dad kind of struggled with that at times, just because he did not grow up that way at all. So a lot of times he'd be like, you're getting out of line. But I always knew when I was getting out of line, because like I said, my mom would put me back in my place, right? But because of that, as I've gotten older, you know, I don't really have a fear of being like, that really hurt me, or this really bothered me. Like, I've always kind of been that way with them, and I do value that, because even though they still have a little while to, like, you know, they're not perfect in that, it just made me more expressive with them. So yeah, I would say like it was, they were valued. Did my dad always want to hear them? No. And would he always like immediately change them? No, because a lot of times it was like, I'm the father, you're the child.
Yeah.
But I was still able to at least speak my piece, and that kind of made a difference for me.
Yeah, and I would say, going back to that, I think Jordan's point, arguments as an adult definitely change from the topics that you would argue about as a kid, right? Like, why is your room dirty? Like, do the dish, like, you know, do dishes, like, take this and out, take this out. And now, because we're not in our parents' house, the arguments are about our life decisions or what we're doing and like how we feel. And that's a little bit different. I think then, to Simone's point, my mom and I have really worked on, my mom's like, nah, I'm very expressive, right? So I'll say whatever's on my mind. And my mom is not that. And, you know, I think me going through therapy, like, I bring stuff to her that hurts me, right? And I know it's not intentional, but I'm like, Mom, like, other day, like, something happened. I was like, I would like you to respond to like this, right? And I don't say it all the time, but this is what I know I need in situations when I call you about these type of things. And first she got defensive, and she was like, I mean, like, I'm trying at least. And then she was like, you know, like, I understand what you're saying. I will work on that. Cause it's like, it's a conversation at this point. I'm not saying like you are a bad mom, because you'll always be my mom. But I am saying, like, now I'm gotten older, I know kind of what I need from my mom, because parents become your friends of some sort. Like, once you get older, it's a different relationship, right? And you're like, okay, a relationship, we need to talk about this and need to be kind of give and pull, right? So I think that's something that my mom and my dad, my mom and I have definitely like done it. And I think it's because first I'm in therapy, so I do it in therapy every day, right? Of talking about feelings and emotions in a way that's not like accusatory. And so I try to do it with her and being like, let's discuss it. Let's apologize more to each other, because that's my mom. And I was telling them my mom's not perfect and she has her own things going on too. And I can't expect her to always, react how I want her to react.
Yeah, I was going to add to something you said earlier too. I mean, I think the main way, like, even though I feel like I always had room to say what I wanted to say, what's really changed in our dynamic is like my dad and his family as well are very much like, not my dad as much, but his family. I can kind of say what I want to you, and you're a child, you just have to take it. And as I've gotten older, like, because my dad and I don't really argue, but when we argue, it's like a blow up, and there's like one or two a year, and it's like it's rough, right? And that happened this summer where I was like, my dad, came to apologize to me, and he was just saying like, maybe sometimes kids and parents don't need to live together. And I said, it's not a matter of that, because clearly I have a great time here. It's more of like, just because I am your child, I am grown now, right? So like, I am your child. You have to respect me. I'm a grown person who pays their own bills. And the truth of the matter is I'm choosing to visit, but I don't have to. And I don't have to come around if I feel like I'm being disrespected. And that was like a very real conversation we had, because I was like, I don't like being talked to any type of way. I've realized for me, not necessarily because of like my childhood or anything, but like, I don't like being yelled at by men. I don't like being talked to aggressively by men. These are things that I just truly do not like. They shut me down. They like make me break down very easily. And so I was like, so you raising your voice or something, that really puts me in a bad zone. I'm like, I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to come around. And we had a very real conversation about that. But that was really how things changed, where it was like, I am grown now. And so you aren't going to just talk to me any type of way and expect me to just suck it up, where I had to used to go in my room and just shut my door and cry. I don't have to do that anymore. I just can not come around. And so that's like, I think the main way that my dynamic with my parents has changed.
Yeah, that actually mirrors what happened to me this summer as well when I was home. Like some situation happened that I felt like I wasn't being respected in. And I think it really comes with financial freedom, right? Because when your parents don't provide anything for you, it's really hard to have that leverage.
Yeah.
And I had to call my dad, same with my dad. We have we have arguments a lot, but when they happen, they're big, right? And he's something that I thought was very wrong. And I kind of do what I used to. I cried in my little childhood room, and then I was like, I don't have to be here. Like, I don't have to do this. I am not relying on any bills to be paid. Everything's in my name, So I thought about it, and then I like went up to him and I was like, thought about it, and I was like, this is what hurt me because of X, right? I wasn't dramatic, any of that. I was like, I know my dad didn't do well with that. And I said that, and that was that. And then I told my mom, I said, if I am not respected here, I come here by choice, but I do not need to be here. And I need you to respect that, because if I hit something that I don't like, do it. And she's like, well, that's who we are. And I'm like, you can be who you are, but understand you will not see me as much because I don't have to accommodate for things. And my mom, remember time she was like talking about this lady she knew that her son like won't talk to her. And mom was like, isn't that so sad? Like, how can someone not talk with their mom? And I was like, because that mom probably pushed her boundaries. Like, it's not always the kid's fault. Like, love is unconditional, but presence is not, right? Like, I can love you unconditionally, but I don't have to always give my presence or my time to you. And that is something I think in adulthood you learn boundaries, right? And I guess like, what boundaries have you guys set in place? I think Jordan and I kind of spoke up a little bit about like having a virtual connection is good.
I didn't answer the question.
Go with Jordan.
Question. Sorry. So it was like two occasions where it was actually multiple, but I was telling my parents like, like that's not the right thing to say, And it could just be about me. It could be about like other things, like they just weren't hip to like, and I'm just like, I'm trying to teach you the correct way to do, like, to say, like, to talk about this type of topics and stuff. And they were just like, well, we didn't have that when we were growing up. Da, 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 da. And I'm just like, okay, so you're just refusing to learn because I'm trying to teach you. And so, like, some of this stuff, like, I would tell them, their reaction to it would be like not the correct reaction. And I know, like, deep down they didn't mean it to be hurtful, but it still came out that way. I still was hurt. And I would try to bring it up, and they'll just be like, well, aren't you grateful for everything that you had? And I'm just like,
I hate when they do that. I didn't say I was ungrateful for what you gave me. Right.
So, like, now I kind of just don't talk about some stuff with them. And like, my mother one time, she was like, why do you feel like you don't talk to us? Like, I feel like you're a whole different person that we don't know. And I'm just like, one side of it was just like, when I'm in your household, I kind of try to respect you. I try to be like the person that you want me to be. But at the same time, I'm not that person. I'm kind of not completely opposite, but like, when I got my tattoos, it wasn't a big thing, but it was just like, my mother was just like, are you done yet? Like, it's not what she expects of me. And I feel like I put my parents' opinions in very high regard. So that's why I can't also ask them things, because I know that I'm going to automatically do what they want me to. And it may not be what I feel like I should do. Like, my intuition, me as a whole person, a whole human adult, not even kind of a whole adult, I just feel like I wouldn't listen to myself, because I'm just like, oh, well, they're my parents. They know better than me. And I had to really, like, unlearn that myself and just be like, well, no, like, you're a whole person, like, you're taking care of yourself, like, you're responsible, you haven't killed yourself yet. Like, I mean, not like actually kill myself, but, you know, like, I haven't gotten to a situation where I was really like messed up yet. So I'm just like, I obviously know how to do things. Like, obviously I had the right, you know, upbringing and moral system. So, like, if I think I can do this and I want to do this, and it may not be in their they may not like it, I'm still gonna do it, because it's just like, well, I'm grown now. I'm a whole child. I don't live under their house anymore, and, you know, I'm independent, so I can do these things. But sometimes I don't share that with them, because I just don't want to hear, no, you shouldn't do that, da, 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 da. And then I just get in my feelings. I'm like, okay, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think segues like a good, like, our next, I guess, maybe, I don't know, maybe our final question is, we never know, is like, what boundaries did you have to set up to kind of keep having that, like, good relationship with your parents, that you guys didn't argue? Like, I remember in therapy, I got learned, she was like, you don't have to tell people everything. And I was like, right, I don't have to tell my parents everything, because some things I'm not going to like the reactions, right? And I'm going to have a lot of people in my life, like, implying that more. Not everyone can be everything for you, right? Like, we all, like, love our moms, but our moms can't be everything. They can't be your go out partner too. They can't do everything in your life. And I learned, like, certain things, like, yeah, I don't, like Jordan said, I used to take a lot of their decisions about my life, my career, whatever I wanted, through them. I would ask them, what do you think? And then I would really struggle with, okay, well, my parents think I should do this and I should do that. And now I've really been trying to think about what I want to do and, like, how I want to do it. And then I may come to them later, but I've already taken the time to myself to think about it. Or something that I know that they're going to react poorly to, I just don't tell them. Like, when I went to Mexico, booked my flight within like 4 days of Mexico, I told my parents the night before I was going to Mexico. And they were like, I texted them. I was like, we don't even have a phone call. And they were like, okay. And then I was like, oh, this is easy. And then it was like, in the morning, so where are you going? What hotel are you staying at? You said the address? Are you still, am I still tracking you? How much your flight? You there yet? And it was like, yeah. Because I think we're learning, you know, as you get older, you do have the power to not lie, but not always say everything about your life to your parents, because they're going to come from always a parent perspective. Like, something that my mom is not my friend. And I say something like, yeah, that was wild. And she's like, and that's why you shouldn't drink more than 3 drinks at a time, Elise. And I'm like, Mom, I'm talking about my friend who got blackout drunk, and not me. She's like, well, I just want you to know, don't do that. Always drink water. I'm like, I'm just trying to, like, kiki with you, but I guess not.
Yeah. It's funny that you said your therapist says that your parents should not be your everything, because I actually feel like unhealthily my parents are mine, and I'm trying to, like, in this year of like going home for such long periods of time, I've realized like I am becoming too attached. And that's why I was like, I just have to go back to New York, because my dad like made a joke and he's like, yeah, you need to go and hang out with young people. Like I was literally home for 4 months, and majority of the time I was just hanging out with my mom and my dad, just like doing whatever. I mean, I think when you get older, that relationship does become more of that, because I guess for me, my parents are a lot older and I realize like they will not be here, you know, probably as long as like my friends' parents. So it's like I just have to get as much time in as I can. But I have over the years had to set some boundaries, like with my mom for one, because like I do tell her a lot. But my mom thinks she knows me she knows me. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, she's very good at sensing when things are off. Like, parents always say, I know my kid. My mom does know me. But there are certain things that like I do not tell her. So she loves to like make assumptions like, well, you don't do that. And I'm like, who told you that? Like, just because I haven't told you don't mean that don't happen, or I haven't had that type of experience, or whatever the case may be, you know? So, I have just set those boundaries because I know my mom. My mom's fairly conservative. Like, she's crazy and she's fun, but she grew up conservatively. So some things are still a little too far gone for her that she just doesn't, need to know. And so I set that boundary so that doesn't change, really how she thinks of me or our dynamic, and I think with my dad, like I said, it really has been a boundary of, for one, when we got in our huge argument this summer, I think he's a little taken back because he like was screaming at me and I screamed back. And I think he was just like, my mom was like, Simone, go outside. And I'm like, no, because I don't know, like, you're not going to talk to me like that, like, and it was really just me having to let him know, like, you're not going to just say whatever to me and I'm just going to take it. Like, I'm 24. I can walk out this door tomorrow. So since I can do that, I'm going to say whatever the heck I need to say back. It's going to be respectful. But I've also had to have conversations where I'm like, I have to be respectful towards you. You should also have to be respectful towards me. I'm a person as well. So the fact that I'm not allowed to curse at you, which I think is like that whole Kirk thing. I'm not allowed to curse at you. You don't get to curse at me either. And it's had to be a lot of those type of conversations where like, whatever you want me to do for you, you also have to do for me. And I think he's done a lot better, as I've gotten older, but definitely a boundary that had to be placed because, like I said, it was very much you're a child, you stay in a child's place. I'm your father. Really, it doesn't matter what I say, but it does. And it doesn't work like that, as you get older.
And I was going to say, I think a lot of times with the Kirk thing too, is like, they're like, well, your parents did so much for you. And it's like, that's what a parent should do. Like, I'm not like, and that may sound bad. Like, people have different variations of like their parental stuff, but like, I don't like when parents are like, well, I did all this for you. And it's like, as you should, so I can do that for my child.
Like, I didn't ask to be born.
Right.
You birthed me.
To be truthful, that's total manipulation.
Right. I think it's very Black
like to say that we're, parents like to say we're manipulating, but they definitely do the same thing. And that is a clear as day form of guilt tripping your child.
Right. Like, you got food on your plate. You got a house over your head. I've done everything for you. And it's like, yes, that is what a parent should
respect
do.
Me.
Right. And I was a child. I could not have said things. And
by
like,
myself,
I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that because you do well so that your children will do well to my kids. My kids can't give me everything back that I gave them. That's impossible. It's not going to happen all the time. That's not how life works.
Yeah. I already kind of set my boundaries. Like with the phone, like I just kind of don't text back, or like if I know they're gonna call me about a certain thing, I just do not answer the phone. Or like, I mean, you definitely not have to put them in check, but you definitely have to be like standing up for yourself around your parents. And I mean, you have to realize that your parent is also a human, they're still like learning and growing. They're not this superhuman person that knows everything. And I think that's kind of confusing when you're as like a child, like you think like, oh, like they know everything, like da. Well, for some people in their situations, like they can think that. But once you grow up, you're just like, wow, like you really don't know what's going on either. Like you kind of just
when you get older,
day by day.
That's really when those things start to
to hit you.
My mom comes to me for advice with her friends. Like, sharing her friends.
My mom does too.
My mom does too.
My mom comes to me for parenting advice. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. My mom, and I think because like you realize your parents come, your friends, like my mom will call me about things like cussing, and I'm like, well, this is different. And it's like I tell her what she needs to do, and she don't do it. I'm like, Mom, I don't need to come fight these 50-year-old women because like I got you.
No, me too. I'll be ready to fight my mom's coworker.
Got you.
And I don't know if you were going to ask anything else, but I was just going to say it is interesting. Like we're talking about like arguments and things of that sort, but just how the dynamics do change as you get older. And like, now like my parents are my best friends. Like, and I also feel like I'm their parent. Like to the point where I literally will tell them what to do. They don't listen, but like I'm like, what are you doing? No, we're not doing that. Yeah. Like calling them, going off on them, like about their choices, and it's like
all the time.
The dynamic has completely changed. But, I say that to say, you know, even though we are all talking about our experience with our parents, you know, looking at this situation with Kirk, like I don't think any of us could ever imagine our parents talking to us like that. And I think it says a lot about our parents, and just like, even though they were not perfect by any means, like you realize when you get older how important and how cool it is to have like a non-toxic relationship with your parents. Like meet people who like really go through it because of that. Like they don't have any type of connection with their parents. They don't talk to them at all. Like, you know, could really do less without them. And, you know, I think it speaks a lot. It speaks volumes for like our parents and just like the experiences we had as well, you know?
Okay, so before we close out the discussion, I just want us to talk about if we were Kirk's son and Kirk was yelling at us on that phone like that, saying those words, what would a clap back be to shut him up? To be like, what clap back do y'all have? I'll pause for a second. We'll edit out the pause in our episode.
Clink.
Yeah.
I would hang up the phone.
What's
I just would have been like,
hang up the phone.
Clearly you're not in a great mood to have this conversation right now. So I'm just gonna hang up and we can try this again later. Because I will not sit on anybody's phone.
I want y'all to be funny.
That right now.
That is funny because
and be like,
let somebody talk to me like that on the phone. I don't let regular people talk to me on the phone like that.
I thought your always has been like, I mean, do you even sing? Like, I don't know if Kirk, I've never seen Kirk hold a note. So I was gonna be like, with your non-singing self, my
ladies, are you with me?
Stop your way out of this conversation. I don't know. I would be like,
listen, that whole conversation.
Don't you wear kid sizes?
I have to lie to you there and listen to it.
That recording was terrible, but that first line really just took me out because Kirk just started so strong. You know, like from him
I don't
going
remember
to
what he said.
He said something along the lines of, "Since you want to do that," or something like that. Then I'll say this. If yo,
it's not funny.
It's like that
not
line.
Funny. It's not funny.
It's not funny at all. But he came in so strong that I literally could not help because I know y'all heard the person in the car start laughing too because I heard that too. Like that was funny. Like it was so wrong, but like where that energy?
I would have called him
work up to that level. He was just there.
It's not funny, but I would have called him a gospel leprechaun and then hung up the phone.
Oh my goodness!
I would have said something funny when he said he was gonna put his foot in my butt.
What would you have said back, Simone? What you would have said? Be like, I hope you can reach it.
Like, yeah, you were 5'2", all of 5'2". How is it? You gonna fly up in the air trying to kick that high?
I'd probably say, what book of John is that in?
Oh my goodness!
But no, I would have said, Dad, we just need to have this conversation at another time.
I wouldn't have said nothing.
Listen, I would have been petty. I said, how about we just pray? And I'd be like, dear God, please help my father come to his senses. I have surely lost it. Dear God, I don't know if this belt is too tight after he bumped up and down to melodies to heaven, but please raise him up. And
I don't know if them platform shoes he be wearing is causing misalignment to his back, and so now his whole body is thrown off. Like,
I'll sit him and pray.
But
I'll be
Jordan
like,
said, that relationship is so toxic. I would not have even felt bad about hanging up. I just would have clinked because I won't be berated over the phone.
No.
I have no reason.
Over the phone? Like, you're not even
What is
here in my
what is
face?
forcing you
No.
to sit there and deal with that?
No.
What is causing that?
Yo, but
I
he
am
was
not
like, I will
listening.
put my phone. I was like, that's a little serious. I was like, that's a little. I said, you gonna beat up your 30?
I'm just trying to figure out what happened. I need
He
like
said, who you talking
I need
to?
a tell-all book or something. I need all the dynamics. I need
Not a
to
tell-all book.
I need to know. I would read the son's book. I want to know what caused it to happen at this. What caused this? Like,
And
that
it's
is
toxic,
some
and
toxic stuff.
And it's horrible because Black families, like, a lot of people were like, y'all, how y'all not have been cursed out in the name of God before? And it was bad because a lot of us, like, we saw and we were kind of like, that's toxic. But like 5 years ago, we would have been like, you know, that's what happened when you got Black parents. I think it's unfortunate and bad at the same time because I'm sure the white people, they're probably like, and for us,
I don't know. I think for us, like, we probably were laughing at the sense of like, we've probably been cursed out, but I don't think any of us on this podcast have been called out of our names. There's a difference. And that's what I was trying to say. Like, cursed out and cursed out is completely different because there are children who literally get berated. But us pushing our parents to the limit and them saying, if you don't get your hope and go, that's a completely different story. Like, we were not scarred by that. It was like, okay, I'm doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Whereas there are kids who really get, you know, their parents
toxic,
are very belligerent with them for no reason. Like,
it doesn't matter how old you are. That is still your parent. So I don't like that saying I'm 33. Like, that's still your father.
I agree. But I do think I do think the relationship changes a little bit when you're grown. I don't think that's cause for cursing at your child in that sense, but like, you are an adult. So you do get dealt with a little differently, but not ever at that. Like, not like that. That's not okay. But yeah, I don't think any of us have been called out of our names, so we really cannot relate. But I was laughing at like, okay, I have been cursed out. Like, get your crap together. But I was not scarred by that because in that situation, I knew that whatever I was doing too much. Like Elise said, I was really doing too much. The moments where my mom has snapped on me, I know I was being bad. I was being terrible. So parents are human, but that's like just disrespectful. You know, there's a difference. Yeah. So to finish off, I think that was a fairly good discussion. I don't know how much we can really relate because, like I said, you know, we all went through things as kids, but I don't think any of us grew up in households where that would have been okay. And so, you know, hopefully as our generation gets older and has kids, we can be even less toxic than the things that we dealt with because we have the resources to be, even though that type of language and discussion might have been okay years ago because a lot of parents were okay with that. We are realizing like that's not okay. We're seeing the scars in our parents, we're seeing the scars in us, and like we have got to have more discussions about like the disrespect and how it's not okay. So y'all people on Twitter who talk about, you know, people are sauce because they didn't get cursed out, y'all can really go because y'all gonna have some jacked up kids as well anyway. So that is it for the day, I think. Oh, we don't have a listener letter because y'all are trifling. Shout out to our listeners. We need some listener letters. Y'all listening need to write us in. I think we give fairly good advice. Like, come on. So
y'all
I'll just repeat letters for you guys. Please submit listener letters at tinyurl.com/KA letters. Just to finish this off, does anyone have any advice for the week?
My mantra for the month has really been nothing changes, nothing changes. So I have made changes that I'm scared about, you know, but really trying to put myself out there because I'm saying, you know, like I have lit on my mirror. I'm looking at like nothing changes. I'm 20. Take the risk. It may work out. It may not work out. But what if it does?
I'm sorry. I was over here looking at my lashes in the...
Did you see her?
No, I didn't see her.
She's literally sitting there like this.
Oh, Lord. It's like Simone I
had a headache. That's completely...
So you held it for a woman. I was like, is she okay? I was like...
Y'all telling me you've never had a headache just like right here. Or
no, I know you talk about how migraines, but I don't.
It messes with your eye because you're just like...
Oh, well, no, I had none of that. But my advice for the week would be go out there and get the money.
Girl,
period. We're in a pandemic. Period. I ain't have
what's your advice? I'm not even listening to Jordan because Jordan do you see the email, Simone? Jordan worked for an email, and I was scrolling our podcast email, right? And I saw like a sent email, and it was from our podcast email to Jordan, and it was like, I ain't trying to be a nuisance, and I was like,
something's wrong.
And I just said,
this is urgent. I was in my scissor. Good days, bad.
Why did you have to email it to yourself?
Because I was already emailing myself. So I was like, well, let me add some text so it doesn't go to my spam.
Yeah. So anyway, that's enough of that. I don't have any advice for the week. We are just going to call it there. You guys enjoy your week. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
If you made it this far, obviously you love this podcast. Do your favorite girls a favor and rate our show 5 stars and write a review. We're so appreciative of everyone and can't wait to bring you guys more content.